Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Yoga. So this is the successor to the X390 Yoga, and that's just because Lenovo changed up its branding this year. Before this was the X390, there was the 380 before that, 370 before that, and obviously in a three-digit number, what can you do after nine? So they just started calling things X13, L13. I just recently reviewed the L13 Yoga, so this is actually pretty similar because Lenovo makes a lot of similar ThinkPads. You know what I mean? Like they all have Comet Lake U processors. This one's got an i5 10310U, 8 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, sorry, and 256 gigs of storage. That i5 16 gigs RAM thing is a common business configuration, and honestly, it's pretty good. That extra RAM is super useful. I don't want anything with less than 16 gigs of RAM these days, to be honest. 13.3 inch 1080p display, 300 nits, and by the way, that's in the name too. L13. Well, it's obvious now, or X13. It's obvious now, but previously. 390 would mean 13 inch, 490 would mean 14 inch, 590, 15 inch, and so on. So, yeah, so this is a 13.3 inch full HD display, pretty standard stuff. It's a convertible, which is fun for me. I really like ThinkPad convertibles because they have the pen garage, and to me, that's just always a really smart idea. So let's get this open and see what we got. All right, so here's the laptop. It feels quite nice, and we'll get into that more in a minute and the differences between this and the L13 that I reviewed recently. The charger is a 65-watt USB Type-C charger, which is expected. It's the standard charger that Lenovo uses. It's the square one. I recently had one, and I think it was the ThinkPad where it was kind of curved, and it was nice. I liked it, but I sent that back, so that charger is gone. Now, it's made of a carbon fiber hybrid. Bottom is made of magnesium. It's light. It's 2.76 pounds. So this is more premium than the L13 Yoga. It's almost the same PC as far as internals go. As far as like the keyboard, it's gonna have an awesome keyboard. Lenovo's ThinkPads are renowned for their keyboards. It's phenomenal, but the materials are better. It's lighter, easier to carry around. By the way, I mentioned that you can pull the pen out. Whoops. There we go. So one thing that's really cool about that to me is just that I'm not a big pen user, to where I'm not like constantly drawing or anything, and so I look, and there's a lot of pens that need a quadruple A battery, and then you don't use it for a few months, then you pick it up and the battery's dead, so you got to go find a quadruple A battery, and these things aren't sold in like a drugstore. Like, they're not uncommon, but they're also not common. So you probably got to go to Best Buy to get them or something. And so, like that's a thing. Rechargeable pens are better because you can just pop it into a USB-C charger, any USB-C charger. But what I really like is just inside the device. That like it's not taking up space like a Surface Book. Surface Book, it's magnetically attached to the side, and that means you gotta, it's there. It's in the way, even if you're not using it. And if you're not using it most of the time, it's a pain. So like this is just stays out of your way, and it's there when you need it. The one problem, of course, is that it is a smaller pen than the average pen. It's smaller, which is fine to me. If it's not fine to you, you can always get a third-party pen. Lenovo sells pens, but so you have options. You know, if you're ever wondering where a ThinkPad is in the lineup, take a look at the logo because there's several different variations of it. And this one's like the mainstream one. There's a glossy black one that goes on the X1 models. And then there's one that's almost like a sticker that's not even stamped in. It looks the same, but it just has a different texture. And that's for the lower end models. And so yeah, this is mainstream. And honestly, this is more just a step below the X1 Yoga, and the X1 Yoga is made of aluminum now, so if you still want this kind of carbon fiber magnesium material, this is what you'd go for. So let's look at the ports. We've got a HDMI port. That's HDMI 1.4B, sadly enough, which means that you can do 4K, but not at 60 frames per second. USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A. We've got a micro SD over here. This isn't, I don't know what this is. I don't think it's a SIM card slot or anything. Power button. Lenovo does offer 4G LTE on almost all of its ThinkPads, but not in the models it sends me. I can tell you that, no matter how many times I request it. Over here, we've got USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type C. Over here, we've got Thunderbolt 3. So there are two USB Type-C ports, but only one of them is Thunderbolt 3. We have Ethernet extension connector. That is for, obviously you could use it for Ethernet, but you could also use it for mechanical docking. Lenovo does sell an array of docks. USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A, and then of course we have a headphone jack. Smart card reader over here if you opt for that. Now, let's boot it up. Power button on the side is the standard placement for a convertible ThinkPad. It's becoming the standard placement for all ThinkPads. They used to, on the clamshells, they used to put it up in the corner over here, a little round button, but not anymore. So like I said, the keyboard is going to be best in class. They're always excellent keyboards on ThinkPads. They're famous for them. Apparently the fingerprint sensor is a lot faster. That's one thing that's in the reviewer's guide, which is a little surprising to me, but it is. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Let's look. This is, in fact, a cellular ThinkPad. All right. Yes, now we're talking, Lenovo. Oh, yeah. I gotta say, I have requested so many times. Oh, anyway, back to where I was. Faster fingerprint sensor. The one thing about the keyboard, though, and I feel like I have to point this out more and more often, is that it is like you do get a deeper key press than on most most laptops these days. You know, you have the track point in the middle. There are a lot of things about Lenovo's ThinkPads that are kind of stuck in a certain way of doing things. So you just kind of want to be aware of that, because it's a great keyboard, but it feels different than most others. Take a look at that full HD display here. Like I said, it is full HD. Obviously, it supports touch. It is a convertible. It'd be pretty bad if it didn't. You know, we have a privacy guard up here, and so that will just block the camera. You don't have to put a tape over it if you're the type of person to put tape over it. It does come with an IR camera, though, which means that you have to choose between blocking this or using the IR camera for Windows Hello. And because remember, you do need the webcam to be active in order for Windows Hello facial recognition to work. So this is one of my pain points about privacy guards in general. You keep that thing closed all day, you're not exactly going to remember to open it up again once you power it down for the day. And then tomorrow you power it back up and Windows Hello doesn't work, and now it's just a pain point. Now it's just, it's a bad experience. So, that's something that's not been worked out. Might never be worked out, because it's not specific to Lenovo. It's anybody that uses a privacy guard. It's just how it is. But I'm excited for cellular. Man, this made my day. I have several cellular PCs that I'm reviewing right now, and it's awesome. Honestly, cellular is so good. This is a feature that, it's 2020. I feel like everything should be connected to the internet all the time, and it's really cool that this can be. So as far as software goes, no bloat, not even antivirus. And that's one thing that's always nice. By the way, the bloat is the Microsoft bloat, of course. Microsoft Solitaire Collection. No Candy Crush, which is nice. But yeah, there's no McAfee, which you would find on Lenovo's consumer laptops, and just nothing else. No third party stuff being pre-installed. And I'm guessing Windows 10 Pro, although I gotta say, yeah, it is Windows 10 Pro. I gotta say that L13 Yoga actually came with Windows 10 Home, which you can configure these things with Windows 10 Home. It's a ThinkPad, it's a business laptop. I'm not sure why you would configure it with Windows 10 Home, but like almost every ThinkPad that Lenovo has sent me does in fact come with Pro. All right, so now I am pumped now. Like I just discovered that right there because it's not listed anywhere in the reviewer's guide. I know most ThinkPads come with cellular connectivity, but they have never put one in a review unit for me. I am pumped right now. Anyway. Well, the thing about cellular connectivity, it's like a lot of people say, oh, I could just use my phone as a hotspot. Oh, I can just connect to public Wi-Fi. It's available anywhere. And like really, like first of all, setting up a phone as a hotspot is a pain point. If I'm out and about and I want to use my laptop, I got to open up my phone, flip it on, wait for it to connect to the carrier to get authorization to do it, then connect to Wi-Fi through here. And then sometimes it just doesn't even work properly. Sometimes it's too slow, whatever. So, I mean, that's a pain point. Public Wi-Fi, also a pain point. Not only is it insecure, but you also usually have to jump through hoops to do it. You go to Starbucks, you have to give them your email address so they can put you on a mailing list to use their Wi-Fi. You go to a park, you got to agree to terms and conditions. Sometimes the window doesn't pop up properly. It's a pain point. You go to an airport lounge, you got to go find the password. It's annoying, like LTE, like you just boot it up and you're connected to the internet as it should be, in 2020, that's just how things should work. So that's exciting. Anyway, Core i5-10310U processor, as I mentioned before. So this is a quad core processor and it's vPro, which is Intel's security baked into the hardware suite of stuff. I just used a bunch of words there. Anyway, like I said, 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. You can obviously configure it. ThinkPads always have tons of customization options. I haven't checked which CPUs you can opt for, but I have no doubt that there are at least 4, maybe 6 options. Because obviously they're going to have the Core i5-10210U, which is the non-vPro, the 10310U, which is the vPro, Core i7-10510U, which is the quad-core non-vPro, 10610U is the quad-core vPro, and then they might even have hexa-core options, which is 10710 and 10810. And yeah, that's about it. I'm pumped, because it's a convertible, it's cellular, it's got my favorite laptop for the longest time was the ThinkPad X13 Yoga. And one of the reasons was that pen garage, it's just perfect to bring everywhere, so this is a little bit smaller. Obviously the X13 Yoga is 14 inches, a little bit smaller. It's still super light, 2.76 pounds, which is awesome. And then it's got that pen garage. It's perfect to bring everywhere, and cellular just adds to that. So that's it, guys. I'll review in a few weeks, so stay tuned. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.